we're going to do the blush tag. Now this was originally created by Michelle Wong, whose channel I'm going to link down below for you guys if you haven't seen it, and I will link her blush tag video that she did as well. I was actually reminded about this video and I can't for the life of me remember if I've done this video or not before, and I was just like, anyway, all the answers would have changed by now, so I'm gonna redo it. But I was watching Amira Muhammad's channel, who I'm gonna link down below as well, because if you haven't watched her channel, she's incredible, and I know so many of you that watch me love Pat McGrath, and she loves Pat McGrath too, so I highly recommend going and checking out Amira's channel if you haven't already. She's going to be linked down below for you guys, but she reminded me of it and I was like, oh, that sounds like a fun little tag. I know you guys love tag videos, so that's what we're going to do. Now before we go ahead and actually get into the meat and potato of the video, let's go ahead and do the YouTubey things. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and now let's get into it. If you're wondering about the look that I'm currently wearing, it is broken down in my Lethal Cosmetics video that is either up or coming. So if it's up already, I'll link it down below. If not, subscribe and stay tuned. I created my own little Lethal Cosmetics palette, and that's what this look is. And I am obsessed with it. So the first question is, what is your newest blush? Now this is a little bit of a kind of murky area, but it's a palette, I guess, that has highlighters and blush in it, but it is my newest blushes to my collection. So it's the Charlotte Tilbury Pillowtalk Face Palette. I have the shade Fair to Medium, which is this beautiful pink one. This is obviously all over the internet. I should also already have a little review up of this palette. This is my newest one to the collection. She's expensive, but she's beautiful. I'm wearing this blush and this highlight in this look today. I love it. It's such a buildable, gorgeous formula. It's soft and airbrushing, very everyday friendly. I really, really like this palette. Next question is, what is your oldest blush? This is actually kind of hard for me to remember because I declutter my collection quite regularly, so I don't keep a lot of old makeup around. But I think it has to be this Patrick Ta She's That Girl Double Take Cream and Powder Blush. I got this in 2020 when I first was like getting back into makeup and like posting about it. I shouldn't say getting back into makeup. Long story short, I took a year off doing like social media, and then COVID hit and I had the time to get back into it. Anyway, you didn't come here for that. But this is my oldest blush. I got this in 2020. I really like it. I wouldn't repurchase it personally. I do really like this formula, but at the same time, I personally think there's better cream and powder formulas out there now, just in my personal preferences. So I'm actually not going to rebuy one of those. And I'm not going to buy Patrick Ta's Holiday Blush and Highlight Palette this year either. I wanted to, it looked really pretty, but it hasn't got rave reviews, and I just haven't been vibing with his brand for a little bit now, so I'm just gonna take a step back and save my coins. The most expensive blush. This is hands down the most expensive blush I own. This is the Gucci blush. This was like 86 Australian dollars. This is in the shade Tender Apricot, and I adore the packaging. It's luxury feeling. It is everything I wanted it to be and more, and the formula is impeccable of this blush, truly. If I was gonna spend $86 on a blush, I'm glad it was on this one, because truly the formula is stunning. So next up is everyday blushes, and I didn't take this as like my favorite blushes or anything like that. I just took it as like some suggestions for everyday blushes, and that's what I did, because my everyday blushes also are answers to other categories, and I didn't want every answer to be the same. So everyday blushes that I think might get overlooked. The first one is the Huda Beauty Glowish blush in Caring Coral. I think this is stunning, and I think like the hype has kind of worn off these blushes a little bit, and I feel like they might be getting overlooked, and I don't think they should, because this is such a blurring, smoothing, very subtle, like healthy, natural finish. Don't be scared by the word glowish. It's not a glowy blush. It's very, very smoothing and subtle on the skin, and it just kind of makes it look like you've just got this healthy, not even a sheen, it's just, you just look healthy. So it's not super glowy or anything like that if that throws you off, but even if you're someone that loves a glowy blush, you might still like this, especially in summer. because it's just, I don't know, it's a beautiful silky formula. I really like it. And the other one, and these blushes don't get talked about enough. His other products do, but his cream blushes and his powder blushes do not get talked about. And it's Makeup by Mario. So this is in the shade Desert Rose. I love this for an everyday shade because it goes with most looks. It probably doesn't look anything special in the pan, but putting this on the face, it's quite similar to the Glowish, where it has this real subtle, healthy glow from within. Very smoothing, very beautiful, very long wearing. His blushes, especially his powder blushes, are truly underrated. My most affordable blush is next, and that has to be the Item Beauty blush in its Verified. This is such a nice blush. They say it's cream to powder. They say it's a cream blush. I think it's more, I don't even think I would call this cream to powder, if I'm honest with you. I think it's just straight up powder, but I really like it. It's also another really good everyday blush. Very smoothing on the skin. Again, you'll notice a trend. I like things to be really smoothing and soft on the skin. It's like perfectly buildable, but the shade itself is just a perfect everyday lovely shade that comments really nearly any look. Next question is the most colorful blush you own, and hands down it is Venusian Sunrise from Pat McGrath Labs in the Divine Blush Degrees. I mean, look at this purple and this pink. If that's not color, I don't know what is. This is definitely hands down the most colorful blush. It doesn't turn out super, super bright on your face, so you don't need to be too intimidated by it, but it's definitely brighter than a lot of other blushes in my collection. Next up is the best memory, so a blush that brings the best memory. And for me, it is the Victoria Beckham Playground blush. I mean, another one of these, most of my blushes, to be fair, are very everyday blushes. It's just kind of the tones that I go for. But this one here from Victoria Beckham in Playground is actually the blush that I wore on my wedding day. So I feel like it doesn't really get a better memory than that for me personally. And yeah, I just really love this blush. I also wore it like every day on my wedding trip. We eloped in America in Las Vegas, and so I wore this pretty much every day as well, and I got married wearing this, and I love it. It's such a good formula. So yeah, a blush that is worth the hype is the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh Tint Blushes. This is in the shade Intense Coral, and it looks quite weird. It's like this really weird like suspended pigment in water, and then you kind of blend it out and it becomes kind of this surprisingly intense pigment. But the best thing about this blush is that because it is like a water base, it melts into your skin to the point where it's like a tint, right? So it just melts into your skin. You cannot tell you're even wearing a product. Like sometimes powder or cream, it'll slightly sit on the skin regardless of kind of what you do. You can melt them in, but you're kind of like, you can still kind of see the texture. Whereas with this, because of the water base, it just melts and looks so incredibly natural, and it's fresh feeling, and it's really long wearing. So these are incredible. Not worth the hype. This might be controversial, but not worth the hype for me is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillowtalk blush. I just do not like this. It is way too pigmented for me, way too pigmented. Like it just always makes me look like a clown. I don't super love the tone on me either. I don't know, just overall, I don't find this blush formula looks good on me. Everyone raves about these blushes from Charlotte Tilbury. I don't know if it's just that I don't like the Pillowtalk shade or if it's this blush formula, but it was not worth the hype for me personally. Fave from Fave brand has got to be these two from Pat McGrath Labs, which is Paradise Glow and Desert Orchid. They're so amazing. I love them. The reason why I'm using both of these is this is actually Desert Orchid on this side, and then this is Paradise Venus, I'm pretty sure, and you kind of mix them together, and then that's Desert Orchid on its own. So they're kind of similar shades. I love them. I love them. They're everyday blushes to me as well. They're the most perfect shades. They're stunning. This one looks like this beautiful like sunburnty color on my skin, and this one's just like perfect like neutral peachy nudie. I love them. They're so good. So good. Next up was Most Nostalgic, and I don't have a Most Nostalgic blush in my collection at the moment, honestly, because it would have been the Tarte like circle booklet blush kind of compact that I had, and I thought I kept it in my last declutter. for like my nostalgia collection, but I have not. And if I have, I don't know where I've placed it, but that is hands down my most nostalgic blush because I purchased that on my first trip to America with my like now husband. We weren't married then, and I just absolutely adore it, and I could have swore I kept it in my nostalgia collection, but I didn't. So all my other blushes, I haven't overly had them long enough yet, I don't think, to kind of create any nostalgia with them. Next up is the most underrated blush. Hands down, I talk about Luna Beauty as a brand being underrated all the time, and his Nude Prism blush palette, even his Moon Prism one, these are so underrated. The formula is stunning. The shade range is incredibly unique. The formulas are really, really buildable. So even though these might look intimidating, you don't need to be intimidated by them because they're soft and buildable, blurring, long wearing. It has everything. It's quite affordable for this one blush palette. You don't really need any other blushes in your collection after buying this. So, so, so underrated, honestly. Most disappointing. So this is the last one, and I have to say it's got to be the One Size blushes, Cheeky Clapper blushes in my collection. I really wanted to love these so, so much, and they're okay, don't get me wrong. I don't really have anything in my collection that's like extremely terrible because I just declutter it straight away pretty much if it's terrible. But I just really wanted to love these more than I do. I find the cream products kind of just a bit annoying to use. I really have to concentrate to use all of these products. And I find the blushes to just be the powder blushes, sorry, to be too pigmented and just, I don't know, I just don't think to reach for them. They're not like a pleasure to use as all of the other blushes are in my collection. So yeah, I find these really disappointing. These will 100% get decluttered at some point, but they're just still too new to declutter, so I keep trying to use them for now. But yeah, that is my blush tag video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. What are some of your answers to those questions? I'd love to know in the comments down below. If you're watching till this point, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate it. And if you haven't already, pretty please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. It means the world to me and helps my channel out so, so much. Other than that, I hope you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.